Good evening, Mr. Arenas.
Good evening, everyone. Dr. Cruz, team.
Carrie, roll call, please.
Jose Arenas,
Here.
Hilda Ortega Rosales,
Here.
Susan Sarin,
Here.
Martin Quezada,
Here.
Jet White.
Here.
There being 5 members, there is a quorum.
Thank you, Carrie. I'd like to call the regular board meeting of July 6, 2021 to order. As a reminder, please mute your microphones when others are speaking and unmute when it's your turn. This will help with background noise. I'd like to welcome everybody joining us on Facebook Live to view our meeting. This meeting will be held virtually with no public in-person attendance, and there will be no call to the public. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented?
I'll make a motion.
I'll give that to Ms. Ortega Rosales. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Sarin. Is there any discussion? Carrie, roll call, please.
Jose Arenas,
Yes.
Hilda Ortega Rosales,
Yes.
Susan Sarin,
Yes.
Martin Quezada,
Yes.
and Jet White.
Yes.
There being 5 in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you. Dr. Cruz, would you like to share any current events or announcements?
Good evening, Mr. President, esteemed board members, members of cabinet, and our audience. First, happy 4th. We just celebrated Independence Day, and I hope that everyone had a happy and safe 4th of July. I also want to take a moment to welcome Dr. Shellman Brown. This is her first board meeting with us. We're very excited to have her on board as our new Chief Academic Officer. She started officially on July 1st, but we appreciate that she's been part of the team for longer than that. So thank you for diving in. We appreciate that. We also had a great event since our last board meeting. We had some learning design forums, and I really appreciated the community, our parents coming out to give us input into the work that we are doing to make sure that we're accelerating student learning, getting our students back on track after some time away from school. So we're very excited about our ESSER application. We're making progress on that. And the team continues to work hard to make sure that we are ready to welcome all of our students back in person in August. And that is it. It's been a quiet week because we have all been taking turns, taking a little bit of time off. We're recharging those batteries before we get back to it with our students.
Thank you, Dr. Cruz. Mr. Arenas.
I'm sorry, President White. No, I'm in transition. I'm just literally coming from a 12-hour drive, so it's been busy. Great vacation. I certainly hope everyone's had a nice time. Hopefully getting some well-deserved time, and I do not have anything further, Mr. White.
Thank you, Mr. Arenas. Glad you made it back safely. Ms. Ortega Rosales.
Good evening, everyone, and happy 4th to everybody. I hope everybody had an opportunity to rest and rejuvenate and celebrate our nation's birthday. I don't have much today other than to congratulate the team that has been involved in the lunch and learns, and in particular the last one where we were able to get community input in terms of our federal grants, our ESSER federal grants. It was an excellent session, and I do believe that our community is engaged in this process, and that's what's important. So thank you very much.
Ms. Sarin.
Good evening, everyone. I also attended the lunch and learn, and it was a great discussion on the monies that what we're currently doing with the ESSER funds and what we'll be doing. And I appreciate Cabinet and all their efforts that it really is going for our students, and I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Senator Quezada.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Yeah, not a whole lot to update from my end as well, other than we finally finished a legislative session on June 30th, late in the afternoon. So we barely got in before the end of the fiscal year. And as you can see, I'm sure Dr. Cruz gave each one of you this summary, or not this one, but the other one, the summary of everything that's in our fiscal year 22 budget. So I will allow you all to go through that, and we can talk about that later if you all want to, or if you don't want to, which I would totally understand. But other than that, good to see everyone back, and I wanted to welcome to our newest edition. Welcome to Pendergast, or in your new role, obviously. Thanks, Mr. President.
Thank you. First of all, I'd like to welcome Dr. Cruz. You no longer have to act. You can be the superintendent for real. But in all seriousness, I appreciate the last I don't know, 5-6 months, your communication, your humility, your focus, and it's just hitting the ground running. And so I look forward to continuing to serve as president and work with you over the next 5 or 6 months and your tenure beyond that as well. So welcome for real this time. Also, hello and welcome to Dr. Brown. I'm glad that we finally get to meet you. Heard a lot about you. I'm super excited for everything that you bring as well. Family Resource Center, I've plugged it before. If you haven't checked it out, the Pendergast Family Resource Center had an opportunity with the girls to do a Zoom meeting with Katie, Miss Katie, from the Musical Instrument Museum. Miss Yeshi, thank you for putting that together and coordinating that. So it was a great half an hour, action-packed half hour, learning about music and rice shakers and notes and creating all kinds of things. So now all the Tupperware in our house have turned into drums, for better or worse. So we'll see. Maybe the next session we'll have a quiet session to figure that one out. Also had the opportunity. I didn't join the Lunch and Learn live, but again, I appreciate it being posted on YouTube and being able to see some of the information that's being put out about ESSER, about esports, about a West Valley domination plan for esports. As well as questions coming up about tutoring and getting our kids back on track after the last year and a half or so. So again, as was mentioned before, I really appreciate the community coming out and having that input in the process and being involved in that process. Not every district has that. Just like to say, continued self-care before school starts. Again, I continue to look at the calendar with excitement and dread over the next few weeks before school starts again. So just hoping that everybody takes some time, whether it is getting out of town or doing something that you do care about. Self-care is super important. Tomorrow does mark 16 years since my brother took his own life. So if you find yourself in a situation where you need some help, there's lots of opportunities out there to speak with somebody and get some help if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed during this time. To piggyback off of Senator Quesada, I know that I think there's an initiative that has been filed, which may or may not put the tax cuts on hold. But I know if I've done my math correctly, the tax cut that was put through recently will give me a raise of 0.0015%. So 0.2%, not 2%, but 0.2%. So just to put in perspective for a regular person like me, I know there's been a lot of talk about mental health for our students over the past 18 months or so. Even before that, about hiring more psychologists and social workers, which obviously didn't happen. Kinder, our school districts supplement half that day, and if I'm not mistaken, it's about $2 million in Pendergast, maybe a little bit more, I think, if I'm remembering that correctly. And a lot of folks at the Capitol talk about local control, but we continue to kind of be eroded in our decision making and what we're allowed to do and able to do at the local level. So for me, we're planting trees when it comes to education. We're investing in our future, and that takes time, just like retirement or anything else. But I do continue to thank our community just for supporting us, right, and continuing to reach out, for continuing to be involved, and continuing to educate themselves about what's happening and what we are able to do as a school district versus what the state's able to do versus what the federal government gives us. Okay, so see how it goes. It's been an interesting few years. All right, next on our agenda is consent agenda items A through H. I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through H.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Ms. Saren. Is there a second? I'll make the second. Is
Second.
there any discussion? Carrie, roll call, please.
Jose Arenas,
Yes.
Hilda Ortega Rosales,
Yes.
Susan Sarin,
Yes.
Martin Cazada,
Yes.
and Jet White.
Yes.
There being 5 in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you, Carrie. Dr. Cruz, are there any new hires or other announcements you'd like to make?
Mr. President, esteemed board members, members of cabinet and our community, I'm so excited to welcome a number of staff members to our team. We have Marwim Mata Ablong, a teacher at Desert Horizon, Justine Aguinaldo, a teacher at Desert Horizon, Karen Alvarado, teacher at Desert Horizon, Donald Babiano, a teacher at Canyon Breeze, Olivia Casquette, a teacher at Desert Mirage, Clifton Durbin, a teacher at Sunset Ridge, Joanna Emershaw, a teacher at Desert Horizon, Lisa Hogan, a teacher at Canyon Breeze, Kristen Jackson Nesmith, an instructional coach at Desert Mirage, Kara Kuhner Savage, a teacher at Sonoran Sky, Ashley Letty, a psychologist intern, Casey Mabin, a middle school teacher mentor, Jovan Patagos, a teacher at Desert Horizon, Pearl Pagas, a teacher at Pendergast, Jasmine Parker, a teacher at Garden Lakes, Rachel Saavedra, a teacher at Desert Horizon, Odessa Shamoun, a psychologist intern, Barbara Shea, a teacher at Via de Paz, Annette Varela, a teacher at West Wind School. And for our support staff, we are welcoming Evelyn Baca, a K-3 instructional assistant, Eve Fournier, an instructional assistant, Elizabeth Mattis, a K-3 instructional assistant, Crystal Mendez, an instructional assistant, Lourdes Navarez, an instructional assistant, Hannah Pollard, an instructional assistant, Janelle Stroud, a K-3 instructional assistant, Eusebio Laseca, a grounds maintenance worker, Elizabeth Torres Lopez, a K-3 instructional assistant, and we're also welcoming back Ellen Kaling, an art teacher at Via de Paz. I want to welcome all these new folks to Team Pendergast. We believe in you, and we are so glad that you're joining us.
Thank you, Dr. Cruz. Next on our agenda is an update from Ms. Fimbres in regards to the 2022 budget adoption and the use of proceeds authorization plan.
Good evening, Mr. President, esteemed board members, Dr. Cruz, members of cabinet, and members of our audience. I will go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. And so, yes, what we have this evening is the recommendation for budget adoption for fiscal year 22. And if it will progress, there we go. So as we get started, we are taking a look at our enrollment. And we know that on Monday, May 24th, our enrollment was 8,231 students. And on Monday, March 15th, the schools were requested by the state via the governor's executive order to begin offering in person, which is exactly what our district did as we returned from our spring break on Monday, March 22nd. So our FY22 enrollment factors, we promoted an 8th grade class of 1,099 students. Our projection for the kindergarten class for the coming year is 768 students. Now, we do know that we had charter schools within and outside of our boundaries that offered various instructional options in fiscal year 21. So our projected ADM for FY22 is 7,786. And that is taken into consideration the variance of the FY21 promoted 8th grade class, as well as the incoming kindergarten enrollment. And we do know that we experienced a decline in enrollment due to the COVID pandemic. So taking a look at our average daily membership, you can see the range of where we've been going as far back as 2016. We were at 9,504, and then we've progressively, we did increase in 2017 to 9,605, but then we progressively declined to what we are projecting now of 7,786 ADM in the year FY22. So taking a look at the base level funding, the allocation that's added to our base level, and which will be included in the funding formula, 21's base level was $4,305.73 without teachers' compensation. And then with teachers' compensation, we had $4,359.55. Now, we know that there is an inflation factor of 1.21%, as well as the 20 by 2020 being moved into the base level. And our FY22 base level without teachers' comp is $4,390.65, and with teachers' comp is $4,445.53. So the proposed budget that was presented to the governing board was prepared with the information provided by, prior to the state legislature approving or adopting the budget. And we do know that the Auditor General and the AD will be issuing the final budget forms. We do know that the state, at the time of this presentation being prepared, the state budget had not been approved, but we do know that at this point in time it has been. So the Auditor General and ADE will then be issuing the final forms, and we do look forward to bringing a revised budget with those final forms to the governing board prior to the September 15th due date to revise our FY22 budget. So taking a look at the average teacher salary. The average teacher salary in FY22 is projected at $53,880. In FY21 prior year, we were at $53,359. That is an increase in average teacher salary from the prior year of $521, or a 1% increase. In fiscal year 2018, we were at $46,188, and that does give us a total percentage increase since 2018 of 17%. The formula factors and rates for FY22, as we covered, we do take into consideration our funding formula for Pendergast at $4,445.53. The classroom site fund per weighted student count is $733, and in fiscal year 21, it was $425. That is an increase of $308. So due to higher than budgeted sales tax revenue during the pandemic, there is a one-time allocation of $192 that is included in this amount, and it will not be included in the FY23 number for classroom site fund. So we will take that into consideration as we are preparing for the coming year. District additional assistance will be funded with no cuts in FY22. So that does give us a calculation that is based on our FY21 ADM, and that is $445.76 per student count, totaling $3,508,283. Looking at our working budget limit, again, taking into consideration our base levels, and with teachers' compensation, our general budget limit for FY22, we have a base revenue control limit of $46 million, transportation revenue control limit of $1.3 million, which then gives us our true revenue control limit of $47,504,416. Our M&O override is $7,065,246, and our Prop 123 additional funding is $707,426. We are anticipating a projected budget carry forward of $8 million, and that does give us a total working budget limit available of $63,277,088. So taking into consideration our cost to maintain, we do look at our regular education, and with that we have $44,132,453. Taking a look at our special education allocations and budgeting, $12,421,488. For student transportation, we have just above $2 million. Our MAUR, our Move On When Reading, is $303,000. So that does give us a total M&O cost to maintain of $58,867,099. So additional expenditures and reduction items for M&O. We do know that the Arizona State retirement is increasing from 12.22% to 12.41%. So that basically equates to $36,308 for this coming, or for our current year. Increase in medical insurance, $265,000. A wage increase of 2.1% for all staff members, $897,698. And then a one-time allocation of $550 for all staff members, $428,156. And then we know that with the progression of our class and our grades, we did have a reduction of 19 FTE through attrition of $1.1 million. And that was, again, the progression of sections and declining enrollment. And then we we do have a temporary reduction in FY21 expenditures and federal funding that did provide an increased carry forward amount in our maintenance and operation budget. Taking a look at our classroom site fund, changes that we are encountering is we normally have 3 different buckets. We have Fund 11, 12, and 13, but going into fiscal year 22, effective FY22, districts have the ability to utilize one fund for all classroom site fund allocations. So our district will be utilizing Fund 10 to encompass all of the original 3 classroom site fund buckets. Taking a look at our capital budget, we know that prior year, our budget was $3.6 million, and going into 22, with carry forward, we will actually be budgeting $5,683,179. So today we are recommending the adoption of the FY22 budgets, and once approved, we will publish the FY22 adopted budget on the ADE and district websites. And the Auditor General and ADE will be issuing the final budget forms for a September budget revision that will be needed. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Fimbres. Any questions or comments? Senator Quesada.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. My question, I guess just out of curiosity, but with the classroom site fund, moving from the 3 separate funds into the one fund, obviously that gives us more flexibility in use of that one fund. But what does that mean kind of, I guess, in real life for Pendergast? How is that going to change what we are doing with that one fund, and what are we going to be doing differently in this upcoming year that we hadn't been able to do in the prior year because we had those 3 separate funds?
President White, Senator Quesada, yes, this is a change that is effective in this fiscal year. And yes, with that ruling, it does give us a bit more flexibility in terms of our usage, because before it was a 40-40-20 split. But going into Fund 10, we do have some, a bit more flexibility on that. I will tell you that going into FY22, we have gone about the same process that we have in past years, because this is a new regulation or new rule that we have for our classroom site fund funding. So because this is a new year with only one fund, we have planned and budgeted accordingly as we have in the past years. What is going into salaries, what's going into professional development, what's going into character education. So any transitions that we have, obviously we'll be working closely with the Ed Services Department, but at this point in time, the way our budget is built is very much similar to what we have had in the 40-40-20 split in the past years.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Other questions or comments? Ms. Ortega-Rosales.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to commend Ms. Fimbres for her excellent presentation. Obviously, we had seen some of this information earlier in the year, and you were able to answer all our questions and give us clarification. So thank you for that, and thank you for all your hard work for yourself and your team.
Thank you.
And so for me, Ms. Fimbres, I just wanted to clarify, when we talk about 2.1% for all staff, that really is all staff, including our classified staff, correct?
President White, yes, that is correct. That is every staff member that we have within the Pendergast district, yes.
Thank you. And then I think this is, it might be a repeat, so forgive me. I think Mr. Ortega-Rosales brought this up last time, but just talking about that carryover, when the adoption takes place, it's not set in stone, correct? So we can look at pushing some money out, potentially, whatever is decided about pushing money out of the carryover to staff or other areas, correct?
President White, yes, that is correct. Again, especially knowing that the forms that we have utilized were draft forms provided by the Auditor General and ADE, and knowing that the final forms, now that the the legislature and the state have approved the budget, knowing that the final forms will be provided to the district for another revision in September, or for a first revision in September, we do have the ability to make any type of change or adjustment in that revision. Yes, that is correct.
Thank you. Other questions or comments? All right. Can I have a motion? Thank you, Ms. Davis. Can I have a motion to approve the fiscal year 2022 budget adoption as presented?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Ms. Sarin. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Carrie, roll call, please.
Jose Arenas,
Yes.
Hilda Ortega Rosales,
Yes.
Susan Sarin,
Yes.
Martin Cazada,
Yes.
Jet White.
Yes.
There being 5 in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you, Carrie. Next up, Ms. Pendergast again, in regards to the approval of the proposed boundary changes.
President White, esteemed board members, Dr. Cruz, members of cabinet, members of our audience. Yes, I will go ahead and share my screen and cover the presentation for the boundary review. Okay, so we know that in April, actually, we came before you to talk about the boundary map that we have in our district. And the areas that we were wanting to address were those that would impact the Villa de Paz community as well as our Sonoran Sky community. So taking a look at the Villa de Paz community and the map that we have here on this slide, quadrants 12A, 12C, 16B, 16D, 17A, and 17C. The discussion was to move those areas, which are currently vacant land, that will basically be staged for development, into the Villa de Paz community. And with Sonoran Sky, we were looking at quadrants O1A, B, and C, as well as D, O2A, B, C, and D, and then O5A, B, C, and D. And again, vacant land that is going to be developed or proposed to be developed in the future, moving that into the Sonoran Sky community. So taking a look at that changes. So if we move those quadrants into the Villa de Paz and Sonora Sky community, this is what those boundary areas for those school sites would look like. It would be encompassing the northern portion of our boundaries for Sonoran Sky, and then basically bringing in the developments that are along the 101 freeway, just to the west of the 101 freeway, into the Villa de Paz community. So here is what I call a Google map that basically encompasses the boundaries that we know the Algodón Center is looking to develop in the near future. And that, of course, is the property, the vacant land that is just to the west of the 101, and they are currently developing land just to the east of the 101. So here is some information from the Algodón Center. We do know that the Acero community, that is an apartment complex, is under construction and actually very, very well into the development of that apartment complex. We do know that West Mecca is going to be building just to the west of that along the 101. But more importantly, what I want to focus on is the Western Gardens development, which is just to the west of the 101. That is a community that is going to bring approximately 1,500 homes into that development between 99th Avenue and the 101, and Thomas to the south, and Indian School to the north. And then we also want to take into consideration the Alta community, and that is actually going to be an apartment complex that will be at 99th Avenue in Campbell. So taking a look at the Alta 99 apartments, that is about 20 acres of land that is going to be developed. They are talking about an apartment complex that'll be about 3 stories high, and they're anticipating 402 units in that development. And again, that's 99th Avenue in Campbell. Taking a look at Western Gardens, They have two different phases. Phase one, they're looking to develop 100 or close to 134 acres of that land. And they're looking to develop the southern portion first. That would be phase one. So from Thomas 99 to the 101, that section there would be developed first in phase one. And that would actually be 641 homes, single family homes, different lot sizes, but they will be single family homes. And then the Western Gardens phase two, which would be the northern portion, moving up to the Indian School Road area. That in itself would be 916 units. And again, that is single family homes, but they're also anticipating building a development of townhouses in that section as well. So here are just some other mappings of those two phases to give you a better idea, a closer idea of what that land is going to look like as they plan out that development. So taking a look at Via de Paz, we know that we have a Via Gateway, approximately 127 detached homes for rent at 99th Avenue and Indian School. We have the Alta 99 apartments, 402 apartments at 99th Avenue and Campbell. And then we have Parkside Village, 715 single family homes on the southwest corner of 99th Avenue and Indian School. In addition, we also have Sierra Avondale, 676 single family homes, 99th Avenue and Thomas. We have the Western Garden that we just spoke about, which that is actually actively before the City of Phoenix City Council for final approvals of that. 640 single homes in phase one, 916 townhomes and single family homes in phase two. And then Sonoran Sky, we have the Cabana 99th apartments. That is right on Missouri, basically just to the east of our campus, 286 apartments. We have Vista Diamante, that's 207 single family homes, and that's over at the Ballpark Boulevard, north of Camelback, over by the the baseball training facility. And then we have the Village on Camelback Ranch. That's 194 townhomes and single family homes that are at Camelback and Ballpark Boulevard as well. And that is actually under development at this time. So we did come before the governing board on April 6th, talking about this vacant land that is going to soon be developed for both of those communities. We did send out information and letters to our schools on April 7th. And at the same time, we also created information and letters that were sent out to our community and posted on our district website. That concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Fimbres. Questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Ms. Fimbres. Excellent presentation. When you sent out the letters to the schools in the community, did we get any response to the letters? Any inquiries or anything?
President White, Member Sarin, no, we actually did not receive any type of feedback or comment about that information that was sent out.
Okay, thank you. And as I look at the amount of students that'll go into Villa de Paz, and Villa de Paz has a capacity for 900 students, will we, when all of this is said and done, and I know it'll be a number of years, will that Villa de Paz pretty much be at capacity then?
President White, Member Sarin, yes, that is the expectation, is with the developments that are anticipated in that vacant land of each of those quadrants, we are expecting that to basically bring Via de Paz to full capacity.
Okay, thank you very much.
Ms. Fimbres or President White, if
Mr.
I
Tigger Rosales.
ask the question. Thank you very much for that great presentation. It looks like you've done a little bit more work since April when you presented that to us. The detail is helpful. One of the things that I know we've done a very good job of is connecting and partnering with our realtors in our district and with other new developments, actually working with the individuals that are marketing those new developments. Not for today, but at some point, I would like some kind of presentation around how we will be presenting the opportunity and the options for any of the students that are in these areas, these new developments, to register for Pendergast. We're very well aware that these new developments are right next door to one of the charter schools in the area. And so to begin early in getting them engaged in our community and the excellent academic option that we are to our community. Thank you.
Other questions or comments? Senator Casada.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Fimbres, I guess I'm wondering the projected number of students that we get from each new development. I'm sure those are part of like the demographic study that we've done as well, but I'm wondering, do those numbers take into contemplation like inter-district moving? Because I know we've got a fairly mobile community here that they may move from one side of the street to the other based on the prices of the apartment complexes. And I'm wondering, do those numbers take that into consideration, and how, like, if a family may move from one area to another within the district, that doesn't really change our population at all in that sense?
President White, Senator Casada, yes, we do take that into consideration, but for the sake of today's presentation, I am taking into consideration the developments that are within, what's projected for that vacant land, and anticipating that those students would truly enroll in the school site that they're truly boundaried for. So if there is some movement, obviously we will reflect that. But at this moment in time, the numbers that I'm providing are under the basis and the assumption that they would actually stay within the school that they're actually truly boundaried for.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And then I just have a couple of questions, and it kind of to piggyback off what's already been said. So to Ms. Saren's point about feedback from community members, I know that to steal a phrase from Dr. Cruz, I think it's the bunnies and the rattlesnakes, right? That this mostly impacts since April, or since we have looked at doing this. Like, have we had enrollment from any of those areas that would be impacted by this? Because it's my understanding by and large that this is for future folks, correct?
President White, I will say that some of the developments have already moved in residents. Over by the ballpark, the Vista Diamante community, I mean, that's fully built out now. And so we have had enrollment from that community. And of course, that's one of the areas that we did talk about for the Sonoran Sky boundaries. There are also a couple of apartment complexes around that are basically in the boundaries of Via de Paz that are included in that. So there are a few communities that have already built out and welcomed residents, and we have seen some enrollment from those areas. Sure, yes.
Thank you. And then this is going to be maybe my crankiness coming out, so we'll see how I end up phrasing this. But we do have open enrollment in Arizona, and I think the legislature now has blown up boundaries, even though we had open enrollment. So I guess I don't want to minimize the work, because I know it's a lot of work, demographic study, and really trying to figure everything out. So because we have open enrollment, because the legislature and all of their wisdom has kind of blown that up, is this more for just planning for us for transportation, planning for us to know what our schools are going to look like and the sizes are going to look like? Because even though we do have these boundaries, I live within the Sonoran Sky boundary. I could be sending my student to Copper King or anywhere within the district, or to a different district for that matter.
Yeah, President White, as you alluded, or actually as Senator Quesada alluded, we have quite a few students that go to schools that are not necessarily their assigned, designated homeschool, for many different reasons. And obviously, we have and always have had great open enrollment, from students that live outside of our boundaries, but also, within the community for whatever, programming their family thinks is best for that student. So, the reality is that most folks come to a school district and they say, which school should my student go to? And so even if the state legislature breaks, boundaries, that's okay. Folks still want to know what their neighborhood school is. They still want to know which school could their student walk to, which school could their student get a bus to. So yes, in terms of transportation, you're absolutely right. This helps us with transportation planning. It helps us with staffing planning. And there is just a reality, folks for the most part like their students to go to their neighborhood school. They get to know, the students that are their neighbors, and they, form those relationships. So we're anticipating that the majority of our families will continue to attend the schools that are closest to them, which basically, if you look at our boundary maps, they're kind of common sense boundary maps. And we're going to continue to offer open enrollment. We'll continue to welcome students to the different programs that their families feel are best for them.
Thank you.
So President White, if I could just one statement to Ms. Fiembres and to her staff. Thank you. Projections are never easy. This has been something you've been working on the last 2 to 3 years. We've lost 2,000, a little less than 2,000 students in 5 years. The alternative isn't good, which is, I've talked about it publicly, closing schools. I'm not saying we're there, and I'm not even advocating for that. I'm just saying that we talked about this a few years ago. And a few years ago, I talked about, hey, we have to be creative. So with that sense, I do appreciate what you've done. I know we all do. We had a demographer, I believe, a formal study done 2-3 years ago about that time. So we saw some of these coming. Some of these elements coming. What we didn't see, which I think I'm pretty optimistic and pleased about, is kind of the resurrection of this construction going on. Because there for a while, it was a standstill. We didn't know what to expect, right? And so I like this idea, and I like what you're doing with this work. And certainly as we move forward, it's more about Pendergast and community and not a particular school. So thank you for doing all this. It's a lot of work, and then it's something something that starts with the letter C, hit us a year and a half ago, and man, all things hit the fan. So, but thank you, Ms. Fiembres, and to your staff.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Can I have a motion to approve the proposed boundary changes as presented?
So move.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Ms. Sarin. Any further discussion? Carrie, roll call, please.
Jose Arenas,
Yes.
Hilda Ortega Rosales,
Yes.
Susan Sarin,
Yes.
Martin Cazada,
Yes.
and Jet White.
Yes.
There being 5 in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you, Carrie, and thank you, Ms. Fimbres. Are there any items anyone would like to see added to future board agendas? All right. We will have a special board retreat at 8 a.m. on Saturday, July 17th. So is that next Saturday in person at the PLC? And then our next regular meeting will be Tuesday, August 3rd. I have a motion to adjourn the regular board meeting of July 6th, 2021.
So moved.
Thank you, Senator Quesada. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Reyes. Carrie, roll call, please.
Jose Arenas,
Yes.
Hilda Ortega Rosales,
Yes.
Susan Sarin,
Yes.
Martin Cazada,
Yes.
and Jet White.
Yes.
There being 5 in favor, the motion carries.
Thank you, Carrie. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Have a great night. Go Suns.